That day, the city fell. Huo Zheng fled with his widowed sister-in-law, leaving me behind amidst blood and fire. My heart was shaking, but I knew there was no escaping Wei Yao. The man I once loved, the vows we made, now they only cut me like a blade. What else could I do? I could only swallow my tears, hide who I really was, and marry his enemy. The day the city fell, Huo Zheng fled with his widowed sister-in-law. Before leaving, he spoke to me in a hoarse voice. Your sister-in-law and Ji would be certain to die if they stayed, but you're different. Rumor says that the Wei scoundrel loved his late wife deeply. Since you look like your sister, he won't kill you. My lord. I choked back my tears and reached out to him. He closed his eyes briefly, turned his horse, and rode off. That was when I truly broke down. What sister? It was me, who had been abandoned by Wei Yao after our brief affair. My father was the famous Duke of Favor, Cheng'en Gong. The title sounds prestigious, but it basically meant he rose to power through connections with women in the imperial family. Our family, though, was a bit special. Special in what way? We were particularly good at using those connections. By my father's generation, he was the fourth Duke of Favor in the Dou family. Others might have 3 dukes in 4 generations, but in our family, for generations, 4 dukes. Yet even the 4th generation duke had his troubles. My father's problem was that he had only 2 daughters. Normally, that wouldn't matter, but these were chaotic times. Warlords were rising, princes were contending for the throne. 2 daughters weren't nearly enough for my father to make his mark. Especially since his pride, the elder daughter, had been given to the crown prince early on. Like a starving camel still bigger than a horse, my father could hardly object, even if he wished he could. That left only me as the Dou daughter of marriageable age. My father fretted over my marriage until his hair turned white. After careful consideration, he finally chose Wei Yao, the son of a general commanding 300,000 soldiers. Wei Yao was unparalleled in appearance, brave, and skilled in battle. This match pleased my father, and it pleased me as well. But less than half a year after our marriage, the general died unexpectedly in battle. The Wei army collapsed like a landslide, and overnight we fell into ruin. Wei Yao was exiled to Jiaozhou. I got word early, and took a fake death potion. With tears in my eyes, I spoke some empty words to Wei Yao about carrying my Jiaowei zither to follow you to Jiaozhou, and died on the way. Wei Yao held me, choking back his sobs, his hot tears soaking my cheeks. Though we hadn't been married long, I had seen Wei Yao pull an arrow from a wound without even a flicker of pain in his brow. I had seen him stop a mad horse with his bare hands for my sake, his hands bloodied and raw, yet he cared only for me, gently lowering me from the horse. I never knew Wei Yao could cry. He cried so much I almost wanted to come back to life. But my father's potion worked too well. I couldn't move a muscle, couldn't open my eyes. And so, I died. When I opened my eyes again, I had gone from Dou Lingyi, the second daughter of the Dou family, to Dou Miaoyan, the third daughter who had been raised at her maternal family's home due to illness, and had been remarried into the Heir family of Jiangdong. Actually, Huo Zheng was fine. He wasn't as handsome as Wei Yao nor as brave, but I couldn't find much to fault him for. Well, there was one thing. He always put the orphans and widows left by his elder brother first. Even when the city fell and he had to flee, he left me behind for their sake. I actually could have left. But the Wei army moved too fast, and Huo Zheng's widowed sister-in-law, Shuesu, tearfully insisted on taking all her late husband's belongings, handkerchiefs, kites, even the peach tree the couple had planted in the courtyard. I gently tried to persuade her, but before she could speak, Huo Zheng, standing beside her, suddenly pushed me. You vile woman, don't bully my mother. Caught off guard, I stumbled, and Huo Zheng caught me. He looked at me with concern, lowering his eyes to scold. Zhi, what are you doing? She's bullying my mother. Zhi said boldly. She had been spoiled by Huo Zheng into utter lawlessness, and since I married in, she called me vile woman without pause. Huo Zheng had scolded her before, but she cried and threw a tantrum, refusing to eat all day, so he couldn't pay attention to anything else. He personally fed her soup and then simply said she was spoiled and asked me to be tolerant. I didn't mind at all. It was just a name. She wasn't my daughter. What did it matter if she was rude? Her biological mother was still alive. How could it be my place as her aunt to interfere? I'm the elder. Why would I quarrel with Gigi? Huo Zheng seemed pleased with my understanding. Out of guilt, he entrusted part of the city's affairs to me. Previously, all household matters had been controlled by Xue Su. Everyone only knew of Madame Xue, unaware of Madame Dou. What Huo Zheng did was paving the way for me. Managing things in Wanling became much easier. Later, when Xue Su caused trouble or Gigi acted willfully, I just smiled and tolerated it. Huo Zheng was fair too, always compensating me. Gold, silver, land. The only thing missing was he never assigned me any troops. Xue Su had some, and once, under my prompting, her maid revealed that Madame Xue controlled her family troops while I had none. Huo Zheng heard this but only punished the maid and compensated me with a few land deeds. No troops for me, the thing I longed for. It was stingy. Wei Yao had even let me hold military orders as a child. But this time, Huo Zheng seemed to think Gigi laying hands on an elder was truly improper. Rarely, he frowned and scolded. She's your aunt. How can you lay hands on an elder? Apologize. I won't apologize. Gigi's voice cracked with tears. She glared at me with red-rimmed eyes before turning to run into her mother's arms. Xue Su held her, lifting her pale, frail face to glance at me, then at Huo Zheng, her eyes full of vulnerability. Don't blame Gigi. It's my own fault for being selfish, clinging to past feelings, forgetting that a Zheng is married now. How could things still be like before? Huo Zheng's expression changed immediately. He pushed me aside and went to Xue Su. All a sister. What nonsense are you saying? Even if I am married, I'll take care of you and Gigi for life. It's just a tree. Dig it up, it's done. Xue Su cast a gentle glance at me. But all my servants are busy packing Gigi's things. Could I borrow a few of Dou Niulang's servants? This was the charm of this mother and daughter. One called me a vile woman, the other Dou Niulang. But the most charming was Huo Zheng. On our second day of marriage, in front of Xue Su, he called me Madam. Xue Su fainted on the spot. When she woke, she cried without stopping, speaking only of missing her late husband. Since then, Huo Zheng never called me that again. Miaoyan, Huo Zheng looked at me awkwardly. Shall we lend a few of your servants? I exhaled lightly and nodded. At this point, nothing could change Huo Zheng's mind. Better to save time and leave the city soon. Accounts can be settled another day. 3. I had almost finished packing my things. Xue Su was taking her servants away, which didn't really affect me. Still, it left a sour feeling in my chest. I used the excuse of tidying up to return to my room and grabbed a bit of food to prepare for the coming escape. The north wind rustled sharply, carrying a faint metallic tang of blood. The dull sky was stained red by the fires burning across the city. In Xue Su's courtyard, people were still bustling, shouting, and hurrying. I paced nervously in my room. Today, this family had driven me so crazy, I felt like my head was about to explode. Huo Zheng, usually a young hero of the times, completely lost his wits when faced with Xue Su and her daughter. I had thought he could hold Wanling, even sending the 100 soldiers I brought from the Dou household into the city to help maintain order and protect women and children. But he wasn't a match for the Wei forces. Once the commander fell back, the Wei army breaking through the city gates was only a matter of time. If I still had my troops, I could have left on my own instead of bending to these fools. Calling the troops back now would draw too much attention. Suddenly, someone grabbed me from behind. I turned to meet Huo Zheng's guilt-filled gaze. Today's trouble was caused by Ah sister and Gigi. I apologize to you on their behalf. Huo Zheng wasn't clueless. He often knew exactly where the problem lay. But his heart always leaned toward kindness. And he liked to pretend he didn't notice things. I tugged at the corners of my mouth, calmly breaking free from his embrace. forcing a smile just like always. Gigi is young. Our sister owes you much. I bear them no grudge. Miaoyan. Huo Zheng's eyes flickered. Then he hugged me tightly. Rest assured, I will never let anyone wrong you again. I heard their taunts last time. Our sister has her soldiers, as her family's madam. You should have yours too. When we reached Spring Valley, my eyes brightened, ready to respond, when suddenly a knock came at the door. Master, the city gates have fallen. Please, my lord, take the two ladies and leave immediately.
4.
By now, Xuesu no longer mentioned moving the tree. She lifted Huo Zheng and climbed into the carriage. The Wei army had broken through the city gates. Their light cavalry charged ahead and soon reached the prefecture. Huo Zheng pushed me into the same carriage. The carriage was packed. Xuesu, Huo Zheng, and their wet nurses and maids filled it completely. I had to sit on the very edge. Huo Zheng led his guards at the front, cutting a path. No carriage could outrun light cavalry. Soon, a group of riders caught up. Huo Zheng and his guards fought fiercely, while I gripped my short knife and held my breath, ready for whatever came. Suddenly, a force slammed into me from behind. I was caught off guard and tumbled out of the carriage. Luckily, the pursuing cavalry was tangled up, and the carriage could only move slowly. I hit the ground but wasn't badly hurt, just scrapes on my arms and cheeks. Miaoyan. Huo Zheng's eyes flashed with determination. He swung his sword, cutting down enemies on both sides, and galloped toward me. I scrambled to my feet and reached out my hand. Just as Huo Zheng was about to grab it, I heard Huo Zheng scream from the carriage. A light cavalryman had broken through the lines and slashed her wet nurse's arm. Huo Zheng's expression changed instantly. He turned his horse back toward the carriage. Our hands brushed briefly before she was pulled away by the cavalry. Huo Zheng fought fiercely, driving off the riders surrounding the carriage. With one hand, he lifted Xuesu and Huo Zheng onto his horse, sword ready, eyes fixed on me. Xuesu trembled in his arms. Huo Zheng's cries were hoarse. They kept pleading with him to leave quickly. Huo Zheng spurred his horse toward me, but Xuesu suddenly grabbed his chest, choking back her tears. Zheng, I'm scared. I'm so scared. I can't bear blood, you know. Since that day, please take me with you. But Miaoyan, Xuesu sobbed. Zheng, do you want her to live and me to die? Huo Zheng tightened his grip on the reins, stared at me for a moment, and painfully closed his eyes. Through the chaos of soldiers exchanging blows, his hoarse voice carried on the wind. I'm sorry, Miaoyan. Your sister-in-law and Gigi would surely die if they stayed. But you're different. Rumor says that the Wei scoundrel loved his late wife deeply. Since you look like your sister, he won't kill you. Take good care of yourself. I'll return soon to save you. I shivered all over, struggling to shout, My lord! Huo Zheng froze for a moment, then led his guards through the enemy lines, leaving without looking back. This time I truly wept. The Wei army was disciplined and treated captives well. Why did I have to run? Because there was never any sister. The one abandoned by Wei Yao after their affair, that was me. As the chaos of the city's fall fades behind her, Miaoyan now finds herself alone, a captive in enemy hands. The dust, smoke, and screams of battle are gone for a moment, leaving only the uneasy quiet before a new confrontation. It's in this tense stillness that she begins to see the personal cost of war. Her identity, her family, and the faint glimmer of a past love come sharply into focus.
5.
As a member of the enemy general's household, I was confined alone in a side chamber. A bronze mirror stood in the room. I held a candle and looked at my reflection. Almond eyes, peachy cheeks, just as I had 2 years ago. The only difference was a small rouge-colored mole under my right eye. It had been placed there by my father's order. I still remembered that day. He stood with hands behind his back, his always smiling face hidden in shadow, unrecognizable as the usually good-tempered Duke of Favor. From now on, the Dou family no longer has Lingyi. You are married into Jiangdong. Do the duty of a Dou daughter. All that has passed is smoke in the wind.
Do not speak of it again.
The words, trimmed and direct, sounded eerily familiar. When I married Wei Yao, he had said almost the same thing. My eyes still stung as I looked at the reflection of my face, the new mole giving me an extra touch of charm. I smiled lightly. Father, don't worry. I understand my path. Later, I learned that my father had put real effort into that mole. Xue Su's face also bore a similar mark. No wonder Huo Zheng was unsettled the moment he first saw me. Not only did he increase the bride price by 20%, he also gave up a highly productive salt well. I was furious. Why give my father something so valuable? It should have been for me. I was the one marrying, not him. Still, thanks to that salt well, I was able to request 100 soldiers from the few Dou troops I had as part of my dowry, including a beautiful guest girl my eldest brother had long coveted. For 3 days, my greedy, gluttonous elder brother went without a bite in anger. The candle flickered. I shook my head, wiped my face with the cold tea on the table, and forced a pitiful expression into the mirror. Yao, really? I was just forced into all this. Would Wei Yao believe me? Probably. He had always trusted everything I said before. I touched the mole at the corner of my eye, and my smile faded. But things were no longer as they were. Father, your judgment, perhaps it's time you stop playing Duke of Favor. I sighed, and raised a sleeve stained with blood to my face. When the firelight and clash of steel finally ceased, I was brought to the main hall. The room reeked of blood. Huo Zhi's wet nurse lay on the ground, lifeless, her severed arm no longer bleeding. Several maids trembled, kneeling together. Like me, they had been left behind in the carriage, abandoned children of the chaos. Master, this is Huo Zheng's wife, someone announced. I froze. They thought I was Xue Su? Well, who would have guessed Huo Zheng would leave his lawful wife behind to flee with his widowed sister-in-law? A few of the maids looked at me in surprise. They had seen Xue Su taken away and had no idea where this Madame Xue had come from. General. One maid, perhaps trying to flatter the enemy general, carefully examined my face, took a few kneeling steps, and said obsequiously, "This isn't Madame Xue. This is Madame Dou, Huo Zheng's wife." As soon as the words fell, the figure at the main seat suddenly rose. After a brief pause, a slightly hoarse voice carried, "Madame Dou?" I blinked in surprise. I had assumed that after 2 years, Wei Yao's voice might feel unfamiliar. But in just 3 words, I knew it was him. The clang of iron armor sounded as a figure in a red robe and silver armor appeared. His voice betrayed no emotion, only a cold, unfamiliar tone from above. "The third daughter of the Dou family?" I nodded. He paused, then said, "Raise your head." 6. I kept my gaze lowered. "My appearance is unkempt. I fear I would show disrespect before you." He simply said, "Raise your head." We stood like that for a moment. I slowly lifted my face, smeared with blood and dust, features blurred. His breathing suddenly caught. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw his fingers twitch, as if he wanted to reach for something, but instead he clenched them into a fist hidden in his sleeve, coldly questioning the soldiers around me. "What's going on? Didn't I order that the Huo family must not be harmed?" The escorting soldiers hurriedly explained. "Master, we did not harm this lady. She fell from the carriage and was injured that way." "Then why no medic?" The soldiers were speechless. Who cared to send medics for captives? I couldn't help but glance at Wei Yao. I didn't understand why he reacted this way. Then I remembered, when I died, it was when we were at our most intimate. His lingering attachment made sense. Perhaps he treated me well now out of respect for family ties, or perhaps, seeing my bloodied face, he recognized the familiar beauty. Either way, I had managed to climb a rung higher. "Thank you, General Wei. I am unharmed. I have heard so much about you from my sister. Seeing you in person, I can only admire your unmatched bravery." Though a polite compliment, Wei Yao's expression darkened slightly. He looked at me with a half-smile. "Oh, I never heard Madame speak of a Madame Dou among her relatives." I echoed my father's explanation. "I have been weak since childhood. Monks said I should stay away from outsiders to recover. Until I came of age, I stayed at my maternal family, and the household never mentioned me to outsiders. Is that so? He tugged at his lips, voice cold. So Madame Dou means I am merely an outsider to my own wife? I couldn't even argue with that. Of course not. My sister often wrote of your deep affection, which inspired envy in others. Specifically? How much envy? I glanced at the sides. Wei Yao seemed to think there was nothing wrong discussing private matters publicly. But the two guards behind him had perked ears. I was about to force a few lies out of necessity when a maid rushed in. Master, Madame Ji is having a sudden asthma attack. She requests your attention. Wei Yao's expression stiffened. He stepped past me and headed out. Just before leaving, he turned briefly, letting his gaze linger on my face. Send Madame Dou to the main courtyard. Care for her properly. Do not slight her.
7.
Wei Yao's personal guard escorted me to the main courtyard. He introduced himself as Ah Peng, a young man with a round face. He was very kind but measured in every word, chatting with me along the way without revealing anything useful. Before I closed the door, I hesitated and asked, Madame Ji, is she important to your general? He thought for a moment, then, as if there were no harm in answering, nodded.
Yes.
Madame Ji accompanied the master from Jiaozhou to here. Naturally, she is deeply valued and cherished. I leaned against the door frame and stood for a while. Calmly, I said, Please tell General Wei that I have a female doctor under my care, highly skilled. I am willing to let her tend to Madame Ji's health. Nowadays, most medical practitioners are men, which often makes attending to women inconvenient. Having a female doctor would be much easier. Ah Peng blinked in surprise, then brightened. Thank you, Madame Dou. Is there anything else you need? Food, perhaps? It seemed I was not the only one Wei Yao's inner circle respected. I lowered my gaze. I would like to freshen up, and I want to fetch my cosmetic chest from that room. I pointed to the main house. Ah Peng had placed me in a side room. The main room was empty. Without suspicion, he followed me to fetch my cosmetic chest and brought a bucket of hot water for me. Rest early, Madame Dou. I'll wait outside the courtyard. I nodded, watching him leave. From a hidden compartment in the cosmetic chest, I took out a few brown pills and sprinkled them by the window. Soon, a black bird was drawn over by the scent of the herbs. I tore a strip from my skirt, wrote the character, Jia with rouge on it, and tied it to the bird's leg. Once the bird had eaten, it flapped away into the night. That night, I had an unusual sleeplessness. After tossing and turning for a while, I got dressed and opened a half window to let in the night air. That was when I saw the courtyard gate being pushed open. Wei Yao entered. I froze, quickly hiding behind the unopened half of the window, shrouding my face in darkness. General, your visit's so late. Is there urgent business? He was still in silver armor. As he walked, the clinking of armor plates was faint but audible. The sound stopped outside the window. I'll stay here. I was taken aback. General in the main room? Can't bear to leave it, perhaps. After all, it was your room with Huo Zheng. I didn't understand his sudden temper. I lowered my voice. Of course not. You have taken Wanling. Everything in the city is yours now.
I was just surprised.
Why, if Wei Yao was to stay in the main house, was I placed in this courtyard? He was silent for a moment, then asked me, Everything belongs to me? I understood his implication. And I understood why he had me placed here. He had his eyes on my face. Perhaps it was because of his lingering thoughts of Dou Lingyi. But I could not feel happy. Wei Yao had changed. He had become a greedy man. He already had Madame Ji, yet it was not enough. Yet he had once said he only wanted one pair of hearts. I whispered, Of course. Outside the window, all was still. I was about to peek out when a hand reached in, closing the window. It's late. Rest now.
8.
The next day, I put on makeup before leaving the room. Dou daughters were naturally skilled with their hands. I was no exception. Beneath the cosmetics, A hint of unfamiliar brightness appeared at the corners of my eyes and the arch of my brows. Holding the mirror, I used vermilion to accentuate the rouge mole below my eye. Yes, this made me even less like Dou Lingyi. I went to find Wei Yao. The main house's door was open, but Apram was coming in and out. "Madame Dou," he said, holding a familiar stack of clothing, and nodded at me. Then he noticed my face and froze. "Madam, you are truly beautiful. No wonder they say the Dou family bears graceful daughters." Yet in an instant, he stopped mid-sentence, realizing his words were improper, and quickly swallowed them. "Forgive me, Madame Dou. I misspoke." I smiled lightly. No matter. He hadn't really misspoken. The Dou family did bear graceful daughters, and the pattern of exchanging them for wealth and honor was a centuries-old tradition. Aunt, elder sister, and we all had to follow it. My eldest brother, weak and incapable, could still enjoy wealth and prestige. How unfair. Apung scratched his head, embarrassed. I changed the topic. "Did you report yesterday's matter to the general?" "I was about to discuss it with you, Madame Dou." Speaking of business, he lost all embarrassment. "Madame G's condition has worsened. The female doctor you mentioned, our master wishes to have her tend to Madame G as soon as possible." The city fell into chaos suddenly. "She should be hiding," I said. "I know how to find her. Can Captain Apung escort me out of the compound?" Apung hesitated. "I need to ask the master's permission." I nodded in understanding. "I will wait here." Apung took the clothes and left. I had looked closely while he spoke and recognized them as Huo Zheng's garments. With the door wide open, I couldn't help sneaking a glance inside. There were subtle changes. The ceremonial sword on the wall, the stationery and delicate objects on the writing desk, the incense burner below the window, all had disappeared. The wardrobe was half open, but only my clothes remained. All traces of Huo Zheng had been erased from this bedroom. Yet my belongings remained untouched. Even the 2 hairpins I had left on the vanity were still quietly in place. At the same time, some of Wei Yao's items had been added. For example, the ring-handled sword leaned against the vanity. The cloth used to wrap it tangled with the jade pendants on my hairpins. For a moment, I felt disoriented. I couldn't tell if I was in Wanling or back in the former general's mansion in Zhengdu. When I came to my senses, I was at the vanity. The ring-handled sword was sharp and shiny, its ring wrapped in an old cloth. I smoothed it gently with my fingers. A mountain pattern embroidered on the cloth caught my eye. Nowadays, noble women's garments often used cloud or cornucopia motifs, but this pale blue fabric bore a mountain pattern, my favorite. It was from the clothes I had worn when accompanying Wei Yao to Jiaozhou. What are you doing?"
9.
I turned around. Wei Yao had somehow appeared outside the door. I quickly withdrew my hand. "Please forgive me, General. I was just looking at this fine ring-handled sword. It's wrapped in an old cloth, which struck me as unusual." Wei Yao glanced at it coolly. "A thing belonging to a man without conscience. Wrapping the sword reminds him not to forget the past." "I see. I must have remembered wrong. It probably wasn't mine." Wei Yao had agreed to let me leave the compound, but he wanted to personally watch over me. I didn't mind. At this point, I didn't want to run. From what I could tell, Wei Yao had no intention of killing me. Rather than searching for Huo Zheng in Chengdu, it was better to stay here for now. At least, compared to the defeated soldiers at hand, the people approaching Zhengdu were more likely under his command. As we walked side by side through the streets, we attracted some strange looks. Half came from the people of Wanling. I had been helping win their hearts, giving porridge in cold weather, cooling soups in summer. Many recognized me. The other half came from Wei Yao's soldiers, whispering and likely speculating about my identity. Wei Yao moved with calm assurance. He had inherited the strict discipline of General Wei's army. By nightfall, Wanling had returned to calm, and some daring townspeople had even hung out their usual signs again. He glanced left and right, occasionally asking me, "Is this tasty? How about that?" I apologized, answering, "I don't know." He stopped in his tracks. "Don't know? Didn't Huo Zheng accompany you out for entertainment?" "Entertainment? Of course there had been some. But it always included Xue Su and Huo Zheng. Huo Zheng would constantly give me orders, while Xue Su accompanied Huo Zheng gently. Once, an elderly man with poor eyesight had saluted Huo Zheng and Xue Su, calling them the governor and the governor's wife. Others whispered. Xue Su's eyes had immediately reddened. After that, she refused to go out with us. Whenever Huo Zheng accompanied me out, she would conveniently relapse, so I would stay behind too. Annoying. Of course, my legs were my own. I could go out by myself. I said I didn't know because the old candy and syrup shopkeeper had retired, and the one running the stall now was a son, whose skills were inferior. The cold dessert stall was new. I hadn't tried it yet. I was about to explain when Wei Yao looked at me with a complicated expression. That kind of man worth it for you? He stopped mid-sentence. Go on, try it. I blinked. Weren't we going to find the female doctor? Madam G. No rush for that right now, he said, already sitting at a small stall. I had no choice but to sit as well. We ordered 2 bowls of candy syrup soup, a plate of jujubes, and some cold desserts. The taste really wasn't very good.
10.
In the northeast corner of Wanling stood a dilapidated study hall. It was said to have once been the residence of a Taoist practitioner, but it had long been abandoned. Along the way, we had tea, watched Wei soldiers spar with local strongmen, and even stumbled upon a troupe secretly performing acrobatics in an alley. By the time we reached this place, dusk had fallen. Poor families lived nearby. Their houses on either side were run down. To save fuel, none of them lit lanterns. Wei Yao quietly came in front of me, offering a sleeve. Hold on. Thank you, General. I can see the path, I said politely. I declined, lifted a leaf to my lips, and played a little tune. From the street to the alley, a door opened, and a woman in plain clothes stepped out. Young lady, I'm here. I lowered the leaf and said to Wei Yao, This is Jia, my guest girl. Her ancestors were famous doctors. She is very skilled in medicine as well. Unfortunately, society often looked down on female doctors. If I hadn't witnessed Jia save a near-death wild fox, I wouldn't have known her talent. But it was because of that skill that I could bring her and her father with me. Wei Yao bowed slightly to her. Jia, a respected elder of mine, has been ill for many days. I would like you to tend to her. I blinked. Elder? Isn't it Madam G? He glanced at me. Can Madam G not be my elder?
Ah.
I had misunderstood. Seeing my expression, Wei Yao understood immediately. I am not an unfeeling man. Do not judge me by yourself. Why did every word he spoke now seem so loaded with hidden meaning?
Fine.
I wouldn't argue. On the way back, my steps were lighter. I gently softened my tone, feigning weakness. General, I'm having a little trouble seeing the path. May I hold your sleeve?
He said, No.
11. Back at the main house, I met Madam G. She was a middle-aged woman, her temples streaked with gray. Very kind, but frail. After a few words, she had to return inside to rest. Jia quickly followed, applying acupuncture and treatment. Perhaps because I had provided a female doctor, Wei Yao looked at me more favorably and spoke clearly. Madam G was my father's former deputy general's wife. That uncle heard of my distress and brought his troops from afar to rescue me. The couple treated me as their own child. Unfortunately, in the Battle of Yinshan, my uncle was mortally wounded saving me. I should care for my foster mother in her final days. His eyelashes trembled slightly. If this doctor can improve her health, I will be grateful to you. What do you want? I was about to speak. He added, Of course, going to Chengdu is impossible. I won't go to Chengdu, I lower my eyes, putting on a look of sorrow. Since I have already been abandoned by my husband, why humiliate myself further? I only wish for your trust. His gaze was heavy, revealing no emotion. Trust? Since you married my sister, you must have heard of the situation of Dou family daughters. If I returned to my father, I would be sent back to the Heir family or remarried to another.
I will not accept that.
My eyes welled with tears. Even I didn't know whether this was feigned or genuine. Please, General, accept me. Whether pounding clothes, cooking, carrying water, or farming, I am willing to do my utmost. If one day you achieve greatness, I only wish for a place of my own within the world. Wei Yao said nothing. But I heard your feelings for Huo Zheng were deep. Can you truly let him go? He abandoned me that day. I have let him go. Wei Yao studied me for a long moment. The next day, I asked Jia, who had come to find me during her rounds. What does his mean? Did he agree or not? She shook her head. I don't know. Jia was always indifferent. I did not expect her to discuss such matters with me. What about Sun Ji and the others? They are hiding. Safe. And Madame Ji's condition? At most 2 years, at least 6 months. I frowned. Then I want you to do your best to ensure she lasts 2 years. Jia nodded. Understood.
12.
After a brief period of leisure, Wei Yao once again plunged into busyness. Though we shared the same courtyard, it was common not to see each other for days. Peng, on the other hand, was constantly sent by Wei Yao to check on me. Of course, one could also call it surveillance. But ever since Madame Ji's health improved under Jia's care, Peng was less guarded around me than before. From him, I learned that Wei Yao planned to station his forces in Wanling and only move after winter. That day, Peng arrived late, his face full of worry. What's wrong? I asked. He hesitated for a moment, perhaps realizing the news would soon spread throughout Wanling, and told me truthfully. The rain has been continuous. Grain in the storehouses has become damp and moldy. After inspecting, my lord discovered that the Huo thief, before fleeing, must have had the grain stores sabotaged. Rainwater has poured in. That was typical of Huo Zheng. Cannot redirect the grain? Did the Huo family block the roads toward Chengdu? I quickly realized the crux of the problem. Huo Zheng abandoned the city, fleeing to his uncle, Huo Yan. Huo Yan had controlled Chengdu for years. Surrounding counties all obeyed his command. Blocking roads would be no challenge. Madam has insight. Redirecting grain from Chengdu is the nearest route. Any detour would take at least half a month. But the army's remaining rations can only last 10 days to last. I thought for a moment. Didn't they request aid from the city's gentry? How could they not? But these despicable men, giving just a few stones of grain to placate my lord, yet audaciously asking if my lord, as the son of the great general, would commit robbery. When I entered the city, my lord specifically instructed us not to alarm the people, to treat the gentry with courtesy. And yet, they insulted him so. Peng clenched his fists, his indignation apparent. I pondered for a moment. I have a plan. Take me to see the general. A chance to distinguish myself, here it was. Soon, I saw Wei Yao, dressed in pale cyan.
Sit.
He pushed a plate of jujubes in front of me. You have a plan? I nodded, leaned forward, and whispered it in his ear. He looked up at me, his gaze complicated. You're willing to tell me something like this? I looked at him earnestly. As long as it can help you through this crisis, I'm willing to do anything. Lying to me again, he sighed lightly. I didn't catch it clearly and blinked at him. General, what did you say? Nothing. If this works, you'll earn great merit. Whatever you want, you may ask.
He paused.
Except going to Chengdu. I didn't understand why he cared so much about Chengdu. Quickly agreeing, I said, General, rest assured, I will never go to Chengdu. That night, the head of the Chun gentry family quietly died in his residence. The next day, Madame Dai, his wife, haggard in appearance, came outside the prefecture and surrendered all their grain to the Wei forces. The gentry panicked. Wanling was filled with tension. After nightfall, axe-wielding enforcers patrolled the streets outside gentry estates. The Xia and Zhao families hurried to meet Wei Yao that night, surrendering most of their grain. The next day, the Zhang family also delivered their reserves. Wanling's granaries were replenished. A potential military crisis had been resolved without bloodshed. After the Zhang family had left, some witnesses saw Wei Yao personally escort the Qin family head, rumored dead, out of the prefecture, moving together closely, without the slightest animosity. That night, I brought Wei Yao to meet the Qin family head and Madame Dai. Back in Zhongdu, I had been close friends with Dai Yun. Later, we both married into Wanling, so naturally we kept in touch. But this was not the reason I could get the Qin family to lend half their grain. My true leverage was a man named Sun Ji. He had been a retainer of the Wei family from a line of well-educated farmers. Wei Yao had once highly valued him, allocating fertile lands for his cultivation experiments. Later, when the Wei family diminished, I had my father rescue Sun Ji and take him under my command. After marrying into Wanling, I collaborated with the Qin family. Sun Ji introduced high-yield seeds to them, increasing output across thousands of acres. From the sale of grain, I took a tenth. Now, I was foregoing 3 years of my share, letting the Qin family open their stores to supply Wei Yao, while cooperating with him in a staged act. Jia stood beside me, watching Wei Yao and the Qin family head walk away. Just gave it all to him? I smiled. Not just anyone, it's him. At least he and I share a common enemy. Moreover, Sun Ji was originally his man. Before entering the house, I gazed toward Zhongdu. Winter had arrived, but spring would not be far. 13. After this matter, when I went to find Wei Yao, his personal guards were noticeably warmer. Peng no longer watched me, though he still lingered nearby. His attention was not on me. I followed his gaze to Jia, who was quietly preparing medicinal decoctions. "Where is the general?" I asked. Peng snapped out of his daze. "Discussing strategy with several officers. Seems there's urgent news from General Zhao's side." I nodded and continued my work. Peng looked again. "Madam, are you making a handgarment?"
Yes.
I found a piece of deer leather. It's perfect for a handgarment. Peng hesitated. "For my lord?"
Yes.
"It's cold. Deer leather is soft and durable, suitable for the general leading troops." Peng fidgeted for a while, squatting before me. "Madam, I am not old-fashioned. My mother remarried my father, and I see nothing wrong with a woman remarrying. But our lord, everyone knows, he cannot forget the former lady. Over the past 2 years, Madam Ji, the lord's sworn brothers, all tried to marry their women to him, but he refused." He cautiously gauged my expression. "Our lord said, in this life, only Dou Lingyi shall be his wife. He will never marry again." I drifted off in thought. Hearing Dou Lingyi's name pulled my mind back. "Did you hear your lord say that with your own ears?" I asked. "Not exactly." "Then it's a rumor. Great undertakings unfinished. Perhaps the general's mind isn't here. How many men in this world remain loyal for a woman?" A calm male voice came from behind. "Not a rumor. How could it be?" Peng flustered, rising to salute. "My lord. Go check the medicine." Wei Yao nodded toward Jia. Peng left enthusiastically. Wei Yao sat beside me. He took the half-finished hand garment, bluntly. "The cloud pattern here is ugly. I only stitched a few lines." "Can be changed," I said kindly. "What pattern do you prefer?" "Immortal Mountains pattern." I paused. Cloud patterns weren't that different from the Immortal Mountains pattern, were they? He noticed my thought. "But a cloud pattern is not an Immortal Mountains pattern. I only love Immortal Mountains." I hesitated. "General, you misunderstand. I do this only in gratitude for giving me shelter, not with improper intentions." "I don't mean that." He put the garment back on my lap, frustration on his face. "I mean from start to finish. My heart only has Dou Lingyi. If she is alive, remarried, aged, or injured, whatever she becomes, my heart is like rock, unshakable." He paused, voice softening. "If she wishes, she may return at any time. I will always have a place for her." I suddenly looked up at him. He lowered his gaze, eyes dark as lacquer, reflecting my face. "Dou, the general's carriage is ready. General Zhao has sent urgent news. You must depart immediately." Wei Yao closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his expression was solemn. Peng. "My lord, you remain in Wanling. Protect Madame Dou, and Madame Ji. If they die, you die. My orders received, Ah Peng replied. Wei Yao then looked at me. My sworn brother has sent urgent news requesting aid in Lijiang. The situation is critical. You remain here. The rest we will discuss when I return. He was silent for a moment. His hand lingered briefly on my cheek, then only reached back to adjust my hairpin. He turned and strode away. I stared at his retreating figure. Frozen. Wei Yao, what does this mean? He knows who I am? Impossible. The medicine worked perfectly. The Dou family received me, and I only woke 2 days later in the jolting carriage, unaware of everything. He should know I'm still alive. Sometimes in history, it's not only armies and strategies that decide the fate of a city, it's the quick thinking of those few who act while everyone else hesitates. What happens when courage meets cunning and personal stakes collide with the chaos of war? This is one of those moments. 14. After Wei Yao left, light snow fell over Wanling. I sat by the window, while Ah Peng fretted in the corridor. The Zhang family heir is certainly hateful, but that young man under old Jia's command struck too hard, leaving the Zhang heir bloodied. Now the Zhang family is blocking the prefecture and demanding someone. Madam, what do you propose we do? After Wei Yao departed, all the city's minor affairs were temporarily handled by Ah Peng. Ever since that day, when I had spoken a few words to fend off the local gentry's meddling, he would consult me on matters he found difficult to decide.
This is simple.
I set down the bamboo slip. Send a medic from the medical division to examine the Zhang heir and have an elder from the Xie family serve as a witness. The extent of the injuries must be clear. It cannot be decided by the Zhang family alone. Once confirmed, we can discuss rewards and punishments. What crime did the Zhang heir commit by harassing a civilian girl in public? And what crime did the young man commit by striking someone in the street? Ask the Zhangs. Do they want the two offenses offset against each other, or judged separately? If judged separately, their son would face punishment according to the law, and the gentry boy would serve a sentence. Could he then hope to marry into a prestigious family? Though now it would be difficult to arrange a marriage. Parents always had their unrealistic ideas. Ah Peng's eyes brightened. Madam, what a brilliant plan. How did my mind fail to conceive this? Enough, go quickly. I must visit Madame Ji. Since learning that I had orchestrated the grain arrangements, Madame Ji had gone out of her way, despite her frail health, to prepare hometown snacks for me. I often stopped by to visit her during my free time. She now liked me greatly, and even some advisors who had once disliked me treated me politely for her sake. My situation within the Wei household was now completely different from before. Sometimes I felt proud to be a Dou, a family line skilled at winning hearts. After a brief visit with Madame Ji, I went out with Ah Jia to distribute porridge. When it snowed, some beggars froze in the streets. These moments were opportunities to win hearts. Thank you, Madame Dou. Thank you, Madame Dou. Many of those who received porridge expressed heartfelt gratitude. But there were dissenting voices. An old woman carrying a bowl scolded me. Madame Dou, you are the wife of Governor Huo. How can you now consort with the Wei? So many Danyang soldiers fell under the Wei cavalry. In principle, how can you betray your husband? I stared at her, stunned. Tears soon welled. Your words strike like thunder, elder. I am ashamed. Even if my husband had broken through with his widowed sister-in-law and abandoned me like worn shoes, I should not consort with his enemy. Yet today, I took the tiger wolf's grain, cooked it into porridge, and gave it to the people of Wanling. If this food offends your eyes, I shall remove it all. I waved my hand. The attendants immediately stepped forward to remove the porridge buckets. I no longer needed to act. The beggars waiting behind the old woman pushed her aside impatiently, while another elderly woman grabbed her bowl. If you don't want Madame's porridge, step aside. Stop acting self-righteous here. Yes, yes. Would the governor and Madame Shui have had an unclear relationship for more than a day or two? Once, my father even mistook Madame Shui for Madame Dou. Shows these two are not behaving like widowed sister-in-law and young uncle should. Madame Dou Don't listen to the old woman's nonsense. We want the Wei grain. General Wei is a good officer. Though he took the city by force, he restrained his men from harming civilians. We saw it ourselves. I glanced apologetically at the old woman who had fallen. Elder, in that case, please leave, lest this porridge offend your sight. The old woman pointed at me, her hand trembling. You. Before she could finish, the sound of drums thundered. The guards who had accompanied me to distribute porridge pricked their ears, and then their faces changed abruptly. Someone is attacking the city. 15. It was men. I ascended the city wall. Upon seeing me, the regular guards were surprised, but a few officers, after a brief astonishment, quickly averted their gaze. Ah Peng hurried forward. I've sent word to my lord, but he's far away in Lujiang. Even if he rides day and night, it will take at least 5 days to return. The city has only 3,000 men. How can we resist the Heir family for 5 days? I peered through the arrow slits. These must be Huo's vanguard. They must have learned of General Wei rushing to aid Lujiang, which is why they attack Wanling. But because it's a sudden strike, the main army cannot arrive yet. The vanguard is only testing the city. Ah Peng nodded. I think so too. But they are elite troops. Hard to resist. The main army should arrive in 2 or 3 days. I hesitated, about to speak, when suddenly a voice rang from below the city walls. It was Huo Zheng himself, arriving with the vanguard. City troops and civilians, if you hand Madame Dou over to me, I will spare your lives once I enter. Defy me or harm her, and I will level this city, man and beast alike. I froze and lowered my gaze. Huo Zheng rode forward, clad in armor, spear in hand. On the city wall, everyone exchanged glances, murmurs rising. A junior officer approached. Captain Peng, since the Heir family wants Madame Dou, why not? How dare you? Ah Peng immediately stepped before me. When my lord left the city, he personally instructed me to watch over Madame Dou. Now Huo is here to seize Wanling. Opening the gates, do you mean to surrender? Of course not, the officer said, unfamiliar with the situation. I just propose using Madame Dou as a bargaining chip to negotiate with Huo Zheng. Perhaps we can protect the city for 5 days until my lord returns. Forget it. Ah Peng shot me a glance, holding back his words. Even if you open the gates, can you close them again? Do you forget where the gentry's grain came from after the flood? Are you going to burn bridges now? Ah Peng ignored him, turning to me. Madame Dou, do not fear. Return to the prefecture first. As long as I live, you will not fall into Huo's hands. Captain Peng, some soldiers objected. Ah Peng drew his ringed blade. Any objections, punished by law. Ah Jia tugged my sleeve and whispered. Go to the hermitage. She wanted me hidden. The abandoned hermitage I had brought Wei Yao to was not Ah Jia's home. It was a safe spot she had discovered while treating locals nearby. When the city fell, all my retainers hid in the hermitage's underground chamber, following my prior instructions. If I had not sent a pigeon to Ah Jia in advance, she would not have come out pretending to be sheltering in a nearby household, appearing in front of me and Wei Yao. Ah Jia tugged me again. I didn't move. I stood still. I didn't even know what I was thinking. I should leave. I have always been selfish and cold. When the Wei family fell, I could abandon Wei Yao. When the Huo forces were defeated, I could abandon Huo Zheng. Now it was just another chance. If Huo Zheng reached the city and found me, I could feign endurance, earn his trust and sympathy. If he didn't find me, I could slip away quietly, seeking a stronger lord. I had work I had to do. I could not act on impulse here. I stepped forward. But suddenly, a voice brushed past my ears. If she wishes, she may return at any time. I will always have a place for her. A place? I always thought I would have none. Someone like me, selfish, cold, sent away by my father and brothers like a precious gift, unfaithful, could have a place to return to? I have a plan. Perhaps we can hold Wanling. My voice rose, trembling ever so slightly. Everyone turned to look at me. I must be insane.
16. No.
The unfamiliar captain said, "Who's to say you're not working with Heir? What if this is just a trap to seize Wanling from inside and out?" Ah Peng slammed his blade toward him. "Enough. The more you talk, the more absurd it becomes." The man remained unafraid. "Captain Peng, call me ungrateful if you like. But I am still loyal to my lord. I cannot trust her." Cough, cough, but what if I vouch for her? A weak voice spoke. "Madam Ji? Captain Li, if I also vouch for Madame Dou, would you trust her this once?" Madame Ji, supported by two maids, slowly approached us. She reached out and held my hand. Her pale, frail hands somehow steadied me instantly. "Madam." Captain Li could hardly believe it, but under Madame Ji's gaze, he slowly lowered his head. "Since Madame Ji says so, then I have nothing to argue." Ah Peng quickly asked, "Madame Dou, what's your plan?" "Come close," I whispered into his ear. Ah Peng went pale. This is impossible. If anything goes wrong, my lord would surely kill me. But if the city falls, death is inevitable anyway. Better to try. Or, are you going to hand me over to Huo Zheng?" Though it took some persuasion, I finally convinced him. Ah Peng, expressionless, fetched paper and ink for me. I wrote a brief letter. Hesitating for a moment, I added a final line. A messenger bird flew toward Chenggu. I returned to the city wall. Ah Peng held me at the arrow slit, shouting toward Huo Zheng. "Huo, your wife is in my hands. Dare to attack Wanling, and I will grind her bones to dust." Huo Zheng glared at me, eyes blazing. "You brat dare." Tears welled up, and I choked out, "My husband saved me." Ah Peng whispered, "Madam, your voice is too low. He can't hear you." How could a weak voice stir his pity? I reluctantly leaned closer to the arrow slit, hoping Huo Zheng could see my fragile posture. This bought us 2 days. But we all knew his restraint was not solely because of me. The main army had not yet arrived. He lacked full confidence. Sure enough, on the 3rd day, at dusk, the sound of hooves thundered. Huo's army had arrived. The war drums sounded again. 17. Huo Zheng had lost all patience. He issued a final ultimatum. "Either hand over my wife now, or I will level Wanling and slaughter everyone. Let this warning be known." Captain Li could not stand it and shouted sharply, "Huo, the people of Wanling were once your subjects. How can you be so cruel?" Huo Zheng sneered. "If they truly are my subjects, they should have conspired with me to seize Wanling. But they betrayed me. Traitors must die. You. Enough chatter. Open the gates and give me my wife, or die." The drums beat faster and faster. Ah Peng looked at me, voice tight. "Madam, do as I say." I stepped onto the city wall. Ah Peng again held me at the arrow slit. "Release my wife." Huo Zheng drew his sword, pointing at Ah Peng, voice fierce. "If you dare harm a single hair on her, I will grind your bones to dust, burn your ancestral hall, and leave nothing behind." Ah Peng replied, "Fine. Don't you want Madame Dou? Here she is." He motioned as if to toss me off the wall. Huo Zheng exclaimed, "Bold move." He spurred his horse forward, trying to catch me. Ah Peng's hand trembled slightly. I clutched the hem of my skirt, watching Huo Zheng approach the wall, and struggled, shouting, "Ah Peng, let go. If you don't, Huo Zheng will notice something's wrong and stop advancing." "Madam, if anything happens, I will die to atone," he gritted out. He let go. I plummeted downward. The wind howled past me. In those few seconds, time seemed to stretch infinitely. I thought, if I die here, I will only laugh at myself. Dou Lingyi, Dou Lingyi, since when did you act so impulsively? Had I accepted my fate at the start, gone with Wei Yao to Jiaozhou, and been a devoted, foolishly loyal woman, wouldn't that have been better? Why endure so much until now? Bold move. Ultimately, Huo Zheng caught me. My heart raced wildly as he held me tight. His voice trembled. "You scared me to death, Miaoyan. I almost really, His eyes widened in shock. He slowly released me, looking at the dagger lodged in his abdomen. "Miaoyan." I raised my hand. Arrows rained from the city wall, a torrent against Huo's army. Meanwhile, within Huo's ranks, scattered cries broke out. The general has been attacked. The commander has been hit. What do we do? Another shouted. Wei Yao has returned.
Retreat. Retreat.
The 3,000-strong army collapsed like a tide. Huo Zheng fell onto me. I shivered, still in shock, until the city gates opened and Ah Peng and Ah Jia ran to me together. I finally exhaled, collapsing from my horse. Madame Dou. Girl. Amid the chaos, a distant voice rang. Dou Lingyi.
18.
I dreamed of memories I deliberately tried not to recall. It was when I had just married Wei Yao. He took me hunting in Dongshan, where other nobles had also set up their green pavilions. Inevitably, we all had to sit together and drink tea. 2 noblewomen mocked me in public. Polite words, but ultimately implying that as a Dou woman, I was always skilled at flattery, and Wei Yao should be wary of me. Many looked down on the Dou family's rise, especially the gentry, but few dared mock me so openly. I wanted to retort, but Wei Yao spoke first. Flattery? You are wrong. My wife need not flatter anyone. Just standing there, I willingly give her everything. No need for such complicated skills. As for you two, your jealousy comes from your own ugliness, nothing more. Alas, your hearts are ugly as well. Wei Yao. The husbands of the 2 women slammed the table. Wei Yao, nonchalantly, drew his bow, releasing 2 arrows at once, one knocking off the left man's ceremonial headpiece, the other shattering the right man's ornaments. All 4 faces turned pale. He lowered the bow, apologetic. Forgive me, I misfired. I only wanted to test the bow's tension. My archery is clearly not to be shown here. Imagine if next time I hit someone's eye. With that, he led me away. Later, both families came demanding justice. General Wei, initially furious, wanted to punish Wei Yao according to family law. But after learning the full story, he drove them out in the street, declaring that he would have no further dealings with them. General Wei was a good man. Alas, good men seldom have happy endings. Stop crying. A hand wiped my tears. I opened my eyes with effort and saw Wei Yao, exhausted and pale. Seeing me awake, he froze. Confused, I instinctively called out, Ah Yao. He suddenly leaned over, holding me tightly. I was dazed. But as fear lingered, I wrapped my arms gently around his waist. Dou Lingyi, you are brave, he said hoarsely. You dare such dangerous moves. Is this what you should be doing? You could have just hidden. I opened my mouth. Before I could respond, hot tears slid down my cheeks. These were not my tears. His voice trembled. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you again. Again? I didn't understand. You've been protecting me all along, Wei Yao. 19. By the time the 2 of us could calm down enough to speak properly, an hour had already passed. I lay in Wei Yao's arms, panting and utterly exhausted. When did you realize it was me? I asked. He gently stroked my cheek. I always knew. Always? That's impossible. You were the one who put me in the coffin, weren't you? Wei Yao smiled. So tell me, how could I have stayed so calm, accepting your death? I was speechless. So that reaction counts as calm acceptance? Then, when we met again in Wanling, and you were so cold to me, was it because you resented me for remarrying Huo Zheng?
No.
I had heard you were getting along with Huo Zheng, and you refused to acknowledge me. I worried that you didn't want to stay by my side. So I didn't dare get too close, fearing that it would backfire and disturb you. I buried my face against his chest. Wei Yao, don't you resent me at all? How could I not resent? How could I not hate? His hands gripped me a little tighter, pulling me closer. I closed my eyes. His voice trembled slightly, choked with emotion. I hate that I was powerless to keep you by my side. I resent heaven for forcing us apart. I hate that we were young spouses, but could not be together every day. I resent that you left me, yet suffered so much. I hate everything, resent everything except you. I never hated you, never resented you. The past, each of us suffered. He lowered his head. burying his face in my hair. Besides, I owe you more than I can repay. You married me, and I should have loved and protected you all my life, never letting you suffer. But when the Wei family fell, I could no longer protect you. Your father coerced you with my life. Your sister's situation bound you. And your leaving me was not a fault. I only feel pain because after you left, you endured so many hardships. Halfway through, I looked up at him in astonishment. He knew all of it. My leaving him that year, though coerced by my father, was mostly my own choice. My sister. Beautiful, dignified, elder sister as mother kind of sister. She was still in the crown prince's hands. That cruel heir, knowing the emperor was weak and unable to recover his power, fully adopted the posture of a doomed ruler. He humiliated and abused my sister, binding her beloved in the boudoir and dragging him to his death, breaking her proud spirit. She went home seeking our family's help, but those two despicable men, interested only in power and profit, told her she had only two options: the crown prince falls or she dies. At that moment my sister had resolved to die. But my father brought her to my courtyard, pointing at me, unaware, playing the zither. Lingyi has reached marriageable age. The emperor insists that a Dou daughter becomes the crown princess. If not you, then your sister. Lin Xian, you are a good elder sister. Surely you cannot bear to let Lingyi suffer as well? So my sister returned. My eldest brother personally escorted her back, giving 1,000 gold coins to request the crown prince's forgiveness for her unannounced departure. Later, I married Wei Yao. During the emperor's spring hunt, I accompanied Wei Yao and happened to witness my sister being humiliated by the crown prince. I realized that these years, she had suffered greatly. I held her hand and promised, "Sister, wait for me. I will rescue you from the crown prince." She smiled faintly. "All right. I'll wait for our Lingyi." But I had no power or authority. What could I do? All I could do was rely on Wei Yao. I hadn't even fully trusted him or asked for his help when the Wei family fell. And then, the emperor himself, that incompetent man, manipulated events, killing his last loyal support, my father, right before my eyes. I first experienced paternal love through General Wei. An emperor, a crown prince. I thought, fine, let them all die together.
20.
I did not expect Wei Yao to rise again so quickly. A few uncles, upon hearing of my father, came to Jiaozhou to help me. I didn't expect the governor of Jiaozhou to be related to my maternal family, and he simply staged a rebellion there. He spoke of past events lightly, but the scars on his body, both old and new, told me he had suffered greatly over the years. I gently touched the old wound on his waist. He felt a bit itchy and grabbed my hand. "And you? I'm curious. How did you win over Huo's troops?" This time, he borrowed soldiers from his uncle, Huoyan. "How did you manage it?" I smiled but said nothing. Of course, I could not have bribed Huoyan's men. But there was someone I could. "Do you remember my grandaunt? She married into the Huo family, married Huo Yan himself. After her marriage, she clashed with her husband and repeatedly wrote to my father asking for a divorce from Huo Yan, all refused. Over time, she became disillusioned and withdrew from worldly affairs. That's when my father arranged for me to be married. The letter I sent was to her. In truth, I had never met her before. It was only after marrying into Jiangdong because Wanling was near Chengdu that Huo Zheng took me to visit his uncle, and I met my grandaunt once. She was cold, barely spoke to me. I used the Dou family's messenger birds to plead for her help, a desperate gamble. To convince her to act, I added an unrelated line at the end. The Dou family has women who can cover mountains and rivers with a single hand. The world mocked the Dou girls for caring about silk and ribbons. Then I deliberately claimed I could cover mountains and rivers. I don't know if that line moved her, but she did act to help. "I must thank her in person if I ever have the chance," I murmured. Wei Yao held me tightly, still slightly shaken. If she hadn't helped, shaken Huo's army's morale, you might not have returned to the city safely. I murmured, exhaustion flooding me. "I'm a little tired." "Sleep," he patted my back. I'm right here. I hesitated, but eventually, I fell into a deep sleep in his arms. What happens next we'll leave for later. At least tonight, I can stay, even briefly, in his embrace. 21. I rested and recovered for 3 days before I was allowed to leave my quarters. When Ajia came to deliver my herbal soup, she whispered to me, Huo Zheng wants to see you. Wei Yao stopped him. Huo Zheng was not dead. The dagger that day had been coated with a drug made by Ajia, one that would instantly incapacitate him. Otherwise, if I hadn't killed him outright, it was very likely he would have killed me instead. After thinking it over, I decided to see him anyway. Not for anything else, just to scold him. A whole year wasted. I had managed the city for him, won hearts, consolidated allies, even had Sun Ji supervise the fields, all to strengthen the Heir family. Yet under the Wei cavalry, he had proven so utterly weak. Outside the room where Huo Zheng was confined, I ran into Opping and that Captain Li. When Opping learned I intended to see Huo Zheng, he shook his head frantically. No, you should ask the master first, otherwise. Didn't I capture him? Do I not even have the right to look at him? That's not what I mean. You can see anyone else you want, but this Huo Zheng. Miss Dou is right, Captain Li suddenly spoke. Ever since that battle, for some reason, they had all begun calling me Miss Dou. During the defense of the city, Miss Dou's clever tactics repeatedly emerged. Capturing Huo the thief alive is your credit alone. It's just looking at a prisoner. What's wrong with that? Please, Miss Dou. Opping tore at his hair in frustration. Old Li doesn't mean that, oh, master. Captain Li had already opened the door. I stepped inside. Huo Zheng slumped on the couch, utterly dejected. Though a general, Wei Yao had treated him with respect, placing him in a separate room. Only Ajia had been ordered to prepare a potion that rendered him powerless. Meow. He opened his mouth, his expression flickering several times before settling on pain. Why did you betray me? Betray? Wasn't it you who first abandoned me? He paused, stunned. Just because of that? Didn't I promise I would return quickly to save you? I fulfilled my promise. I asked my uncle to send troops to strike Lujiang, to draw Wei Yao away, all to rescue you from Wanling. I curved my lips slightly. And yet you didn't manage that either. Useless. His eyes widened in disbelief. You called me what? Useless. After a year of humiliation, I could no longer hold it in. You lost the city while blind to strategy. You're useless. You secretly admired your sister-in-law, but didn't dare speak. Useless. If you had remained unmarried for her sake, I might have respected your courage, but in the end, you are a coward and a shameless wretch. Huo Zheng's pupils trembled violently. I only with sister-in-law because she saved you as a child and even suffered a lasting injury for it. I curved my lips in sarcasm. But you didn't know it was actually a maid from the Xue household who saved you. When Xue discovered you were a legitimate Heir, she killed the maid to claim the credit, so she could marry into the Heir family despite her lower status. Such scheming even an outsider, like me, could uncover. You, the one involved, were deceived all this time. Foolish or blind, who else deserves the title of useless but you? With every word I spoke, Huo Zheng's face darkened further. By the last word, his face was pale as paper. Impossible. You lied, you slandered sister-in-law. Lied to you? A defeated general. A prisoner. What would I have to lie about?
You jealous.
Yes, you are jealous of sister-in-law. You hoped I would change my mind, yet there was no need for such tricks. I know I wronged you this time. Rest assured, I will no longer favor sister-in-law. The contraceptives can stop. We don't need to wait for Gigi to grow up. We can have a child now, all right? I smiled. Not afraid that Huo Gigi will feel wrong now, huh? He struggled to speak. No need to wait. Gigi was just a child. She shouldn't be wronged further. Miaoyan, you rescued me, and I will honor and love you from now on. If I succeed in my ambitions, you will be empress. Wake up. A useless man like you succeeding? Then even a pig led from the sty could do it, I snapped. Satisfied with my scolding, I turned to leave. As I stepped forward, I remembered something, lowering my voice. Oh, and another secret, I never actually took the contraceptives. They're harmful to the body. I only let Ajia prepare them for you. Since you don't want children, then never have them. Huo Zheng froze. His eyes widened, veins bulging, trembling. Dou Miaoyan, you wretched woman. Dou Miaoyan, come back here, you.
22.
I never asked Wei Yao how he dealt with Huo Zheng. Her family envoys came several times, but all returned empty-handed. After spring began, Huo Yan sent Wei Yao a challenge. Wei Yao accepted, but he met them 30 li outside Chengdu City. By the time Huo Yan sent the challenge, Wei Yao had already marched to Chengdu and captured it within half a month. It shouldn't have been so easy. The Huo family had held Danyang for years, controlling many towns. Yet, seeing Wei Yao's unstoppable assault, Wei Yan decided to let his eldest son defend Chengdu while he fled with his new concubine and 2 young children. My grand aunt, furious, seized the moment. She stormed the main residence with executioners, beheaded Huo Yan and his concubine, and presented their heads to Wei Yao as a surrender. Oh, that concubine was someone familiar, Shui Su. After Huo Zheng disappeared, she had been shunned by the Huo household and attached herself to Huo Yan. As for Huo Zhiji, when I entered the Huo residence, I saw her. Pale and battered, she collapsed before me, pleading for protection. I refused. Huo Zhiji's face was full of hatred, cursing me. When 2 female servants tried to drag her away, I stopped them. Her hope briefly resurfaced, only to hear me instruct Ajia. She is just a child. Don't let her suffer too much. Huo Zhiji screamed. You want to kill me? How can you be so cruel? I'm still a child. I spoke softly. When you use your child's identity as a bargaining chip, you are no longer a child. You are a woman. And women can be terrifying, fragile yet resilient, like me. Your second uncle fell to my hands. Who's to say what you will accomplish in the future? Seeking revenge? After all, you hate me. That day in Wanling, you and your wet nurse pushed me from the carriage, didn't you? The maids confessed. I am a woman, so I understand a woman's power. Never underestimate it. Besides, at such a young age you enjoyed tormenting the maids. 8 or 10 of them died by your hand. If Huo Zheng hadn't hidden it, no one would have known. You got what you deserved.
Go.
It won't hurt too much. After Wei Yao entered the city, he treated my grand aunt with respect and incorporated her son into his command, granting him the rank of captain. With the Huo family's prior submission, Danyang quietly fell into Wei Yao's hands. Then came Jiangxia and Nanyang. In the 5th spring, the Wei family finally turned their sights to Zhongdu. Zhongdu fell easily. After besieging the city for half a month, my father led the surrender. I was not surprised at all. The emperor's time was over. Inside the city, people were already fearful from rumors I had planted, proclaiming the Wei family's destiny. Moreover, I sent a messenger bird to my father, saying I was at Wei Yao's side, trusted by him, and if the Wei army entered Zhongdu, I would be empress. That tidbit alone made my father hesitate for half a month before surrendering. I must admit, I overestimated him slightly. I had expected it to take only a day. After the troops entered, I rode straight to the crown prince's residence. Just as I was about to order the gate broken open, it swung open from inside. A pale, frail figure drenched in blood stepped out. Sister, I rushed forward. She smiled faintly and collapsed into my arms.
Ajia.
Ajia, I shouted in panic. Ajia hurried over. Thankfully, the blood was not my sister's. It was my sister who had stabbed the crown prince dozens of times. The blood splashed onto her. I nearly forgot. My sister, Dou Lingyi, was 90% gentle lady, 10% lunatic. From a very young age, I knew one thing. Why did my father have only 2 sons and 1 daughter? Because after my mother gave birth to me, her health was ruined, and my father discarded her like an old shoe. He took many concubines, allowed them to torment my mother, worsening her already weak body. She died barely 2 years after giving birth to me. When my sister was 7, she took advantage of my uncle's visit, pleading with him to bring a certain contraceptive, which she secretly added to the ginseng soup she prepared for my father. This completely crushed my father's dream of producing more beautiful daughters. No one believed a 7-year-old could do such a thing. To this day, my father does not know. After years of war, intrigue, and personal sacrifices, our heroine has finally reached a turning point. She has not only rescued her sister and restored her family's honor, but also shaped her own destiny in ways no one expected. In this next section, we see how she consolidates power, asserts her authority, and navigates the delicate balance between personal desire and political duty. Let's dive in. 23 to 24. I kept watch for 3 days. Only then did my sister wake. She told me she wanted to leave Zhengdu, to see the world. If she grew tired, she could return to seek me. Lingyi, I originally planned to die once you married Wei Yao. But on the eve of your wedding, you leaned on my shoulder and spoke so many words. You asked me to give your child a nickname, asked me to teach her to play the zither. I couldn't bring myself to die. Later, when you said you would save me from the mire, I didn't believe it. I thought it was enough if you were well. Why trouble yourself with me? My sister gently stroked my head. I didn't expect you really did it. Lingyi, I know there is still another task you have to accomplish. You are my sister, I know you. I should have stayed to help, but please forgive my cowardice. I truly cannot stay in Zhengdu. The city has given me nothing but pain. She left. I asked Wei Yao to send a contingent to protect her. With Zhengdu's affairs settled and Wei Yao's coronation imminent, he came to me, intending to make me empress. I laughed and asked, but Dou Lingyi is dead, and Dou Miaoyan is his wife. Who will you make empress? One of the Dou daughters. Who said Dou Lingyi is dead? I say you're not dead. Then you are not dead. Who dare speak otherwise? I teased him. Your Majesty, such arrogance. You haven't ascended yet, and already you have the temper of an emperor. He laughed with me for a while, then suddenly rose and, half kneeling before me, said, Lingyi, will you be my empress? You alone in this life. I can make it happen. If not, you may kill me. 5 years of campaigning. Wei Yao and I had been by each other's side. Yet I never allowed anyone to call me Lady Dou, always referring to myself as Miss Dou. Wei Yao often clung to me, asking me to give him a title. I never agreed. Ah, Yao, I trust you can do it. I gently held his hand. Over these years, we had saved each other countless times from life-threatening situations. I could not doubt him. Then, who else could I trust? But I don't want to. I don't want to be empress. His pupils trembled slightly. If not empress, then what do you want? To be emperor. Is that all right? He paused, a troubled expression on his face. I was about to say it was a joke. But he bit his teeth and said, Fine. You be emperor, I'll be empress. I froze. He was serious, not pretending. Are you willing? For you, there is nothing I am unwilling to give up. I sighed. I had wanted to speak carefully, but now I only wanted to rest against him. Ah, Yao, I cannot become emperor. Just as you cannot refuse to become emperor. Your uncles, your sworn brothers, they only raised the Wei banner because of you. If I am emperor and you refuse, will they agree? If you don't become emperor and someone else does, who would accept it? Do you plan to kill all opponents, or fight another 5, 10 years until the land is soaked in blood and mourning? Wei Yao held me tightly. But He wanted to persuade me to be empress, to be by his side. I straightened, looked him in the eyes, and he had nothing to say. I understood him, and he understood me. If I became empress, the Dou family would be like before, endlessly revolving as an external clan, trading daughters for influence. I would not allow that. I wanted the Dou family to raise strong women, to show the world that daughters could shape destiny, not just be married off for family gain. Wei Yao's eyes reddened. His voice was hoarse. Then you want me, what do you want? I want to be a marquess. Not through our private ties, but through my merit. I have achievements in provisioning, defending Wanling, advising the river crossing, cleverly defeating Shieling, countless deeds. Even by merit, I deserve a title, Your Majesty. I gently shook his sleeve. You will fulfill this for me. Wei Yao lowered his eyes, his long lashes trembling. Finally, he said, Very well. I was granted the title of King of Danyang. Though Wei Yao's old ministers murmured, no one opposed. Just as I had told Wei Yao, my accomplishments alone justified the title. Before the palace was built, I returned to the Dou residence.
My father greeted me with a slap.
My guards quickly intervened. How dare you disrespect the King of Danyang? What King of Danyang? A woman as Marquis? Go to His Majesty and request a revision. Make your elder brother King of Danyang, and make yourself Empress. I smiled and sat in the main seat. The guards flanked me, armor glinting. My father's expression finally shifted. Father, are you losing your mind? Can you not see who rules the Dou family now? I am your father. But I am the King of Danyang, father. Rest assured, I study the classics, understand reason, and filial duty. I will not let you lack support in your old age. My father's expression softened. But you shouldn't have made this decision alone. Your family's honor ultimately rests with your brother. Still, as it stands, complaining won't change it. You should petition for your nephew's title. I gave no reply. Don't worry, both my nephew and elder brother have their futures. I gathered the Dou family in the main hall. Ajia announced my orders. All concubines of my father and elder brother were dismissed. Those willing to return home would be paid. Those unwilling could work for the Dou family or outside. Dou family guarantees. My elder brother would eat only 2 meals a day, alternating vegetarian and meat, and walk severally day and night. My father, still fairly fit, would maintain health through Ajia's acupuncture and herbal remedies. Before Ajia finished, my elder brother leapt up. Dou Lingyi, are you insane? What are you doing? Of course, I am ensuring our Dou family shines. I investigated. The widowed Lu matriarch admired father's looks in her youth. Now, with imperial favor, I will send father to her to establish ties. I clapped my hands and laughed. As for elder brother, fat as a pig, no one would want him now. I must help him slim down first, then consider his future. My father and brother fumed. Outrageous, outrageous, the heavens are inverted. Dou Lingyi. The guards remained impassive, withdrawing the punishment sticks from their backs. I shook my head and sighed. It would take time for the family to truly gain glory. To be a family head requires exhausting effort. It is no easy task. Epilogue. History records. The new emperor Wei Yao was wise and brave, with virtues widely known. Yet heaven did not grant him longevity. At 36, he fell ill and died, entrusting the realm to his young son, bringing the nation into mourning. But history is written for posterity. At that moment, Wei Yao, not yet aged by fate, lay on my couch reading. In his hands, the emperor and the king of Danyang, tales beside it. Astonishing tales of the imperial garden and who says a monarch doesn't bow. Judging by the titles, these were all about us. Our relationship was never a secret. During his 9-year reign, diligent and just, the only indulgence he allowed himself was never hiding our connection. He entered my residence openly and even stayed the night in my quarters at the palace. When Zhao was born, he presented the child to the palace as a foundling he liked, declaring him heir. Perhaps this is the confidence of a founding emperor. His uncles and brothers indulged him. Even after his death, they often invited him to their residence, hunting trips, calling him Lady of Danyang with smiles. Lingyi, look at this. Complete nonsense. Wei Yao handed me the book. It claims I admired your beauty. Ridiculous. Beauty was your least remarkable trait. I laughed at him. Then what do you think are my virtues? Intelligence, wit, decisiveness, countless virtues. He rested his head on my lap, looking up at me. Your Highness, King of Danyang, you've handled official business for half an hour. Can you spare a moment to come outside and enjoy the sun with me? Very well. We lay together on the low couch in the courtyard. But before long, someone came to see us opping. He looked worried. "Your Highness, Master, has Ajia come by? You upset her again?" "Yes, it's my fault. I shouldn't have mentioned marriage. I don't want to force her, but that rake always lusts after her. I feel wronged. If it's about this, there are many ways to resolve it. Since you agreed to wait until she proposed marriage, there's no need to rush." I stood. "I can help find her too." "Thanks, Your Highness. But no need. You will find her yourself and apologize. I won't disturb you further." Oppen glanced behind me and left timidly. Wei Yao mumbled, holding me, "There's always something trivial at home. Let's go out for a walk." Agreed. We changed into casual clothes and went into town together. The breeze was gentle, the sunlight perfect. Wei Yao held my hand, saying he would buy me a new hairpin when we saw a family displaying a newborn on the street. Someone nearby asked, "But didn't this family have a daughter? Why hang the ceremonial items for a son?" The inquirer rolled his eyes. "Which backwater village are you from? Now they still do those old customs?" "Look, the Danyang prince's residence, power across the court. Even the little emperor listens. Over there, the Sun family, male or female, can still achieve success." How does the saying go? My memory fails me. Oh, I remember now. The Dou family has women strong enough to cover mountains and rivers with a single hand. Watching her hide her true self and marry her enemy while surrounded by chaos, it breaks your heart. Love twisted by fate and human betrayal is cruel and intoxicating. What would Wei Yao do if he knew the truth? Some romances are so heartbreaking, you can't stop watching.